Hey everybody, time for a new video. Hey, what I got going on right now is I've had some people email me, like I guess young guys, about how lawnmowers work. And so I thought I'd do a little video and show you guys how lawnmowers work. You know, lawnmowers are probably like the most basic thing that you can, take apart, figure out how they work, and kind of teach yourself how engines work, how spark works, carburetors, all that kind of great stuff. And the cool thing is that they're like easily accessible. You know, everybody's got a lawnmower, everybody's got a weed eater, and if you don't, you can get them for free. I mean, you can get them, tons of them for free. You can get them for $5, to people will pay you to get rid of them, really. So, it's a good example of like a way to teach yourself automotive stuff, and this is probably how actually I know it's how I started, wrenching when I was a kid. I had lawnmowers, and I used to mow grass, and I used to try and make money that way. Well, lawnmowers break, especially the old crappy ones that I had, and so you end up working on them all the time. Well, here's a perfect example. This is a free lawnmower. Obviously, it's a Craftsman. I don't even know what kind of damn engine this is. It's a Briggs & Stratton. I think it's about a 5 horsepower, it looks like. But this is like a extremely basic lawnmower, like the most basic $140 lawnmower probably at gas that you can get. And Briggs & Stratton makes the motors. Tecumseh makes a motor very similar to this, and they're all almost exactly the same. And I thought this would just be a good example for like you young guys or people who are trying to learn. Like, this is a perfect example of how to, start. Like, I just got this. I don't know what's wrong with it, but I'm going to run you guys through the steps of trying to figure it out. A buddy of mine just threw them all away, my buddy Sam. Thanks, Sam. And I'm going to fix it and just figure out what's wrong with it. So, the first things that you need to know on an engine like this is kind of how they work, okay? So, how do they work? Well, the gasoline engine that you've just got a tank, and there's gasoline in there, obviously, okay? And the gasoline runs down to your carburetor, okay? Well, the carburetor is going to cause you probably the most problems out of anything in this lawnmower or your weed eater, okay? The carburetors get dirty. They have little needles inside there, and so the gas is sitting in the tank. It goes down to the carburetor through a hose, and it's got a little needle. And the little needle has a rubber on the very tip of it where it opens and closes. It opens and closes. It's called a float bowl needle. Okay, and that float bowl, that very tip of it where it's rubber, it'll get soft and it'll get eaten up over time, and you'll end up with a no start condition. You'll end up with not getting any fuel, man. It's not getting any fuel. So 90% of the times the fix for lawnmowers and weed eaters is usually a carburetor rebuild kit, which is pretty cheap, man. You can order them online. You can find them all over the place for really cheap, like $8, $7 or so. So this is also probably a good video if you have a lawnmower and you don't know how to fix it, or maybe I'll just go buy a new one, but that one's only a year old. What the hell's wrong with it? Well, it's probably the carburetor. Especially modern day, the gasoline that we have today, believe it or not, it's not that great, man. Like the ethanol is awesome, and gasoline are awesome, but together, not so awesome. Gasoline with alcohol used to be called gasohol. But what happens basically when you have gasoline and alcohol mixed together to 10, I think like here in Tennessee, they're 10 or 15%, 20% even, 20% of alcohol, and the rest is 80% of gasoline. But what happens is when you mix those two together, the alcohol is they have a binary agent in there, and it actually keeps it from coming out of suspension. But the problem that happens is ethanol will come out of gasoline eventually. If you take a glass jar and you just fill it with normal gasoline from the gas station, and you just leave it for about 6 months to a year, you'll come back and you'll see stratification, which is just basically you'll see the ethanol at the bottom and the gasoline at the top. And so basically, in a lawnmower like this or a weed eater or something like that, you end up with this ethanol on the bottom, and you end up with this gasoline at the top, and the carburetor is just draining from the bottom of the bowl to the tank, and so you end up just sucking in ethanol. Well, the engine won't run on ethanol, okay? Like, it just can't, and the ethanol will usually eat up the rubber seals inside that carburetor, that float bowl seal. It just doesn't like it. So anyway, like I said, I mean, that's usually what happens. The ethanol will kind of mess up that little seal, and you'll end up having to replace it. So you see a lot of these that get thrown away, and it's kind of sad because there's so much energy and labor that goes into making one of these engines. I hate to see them all just get chucked, especially when you can fix it and run it and use it for something else, man. I mean, it's pretty cool. So, the point of the videos too, though, is just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how they work, and then to show you kind of how you troubleshoot. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do, I just got this lawnmower. I don't know a damn thing about it. I'm going to check the oil. All right. So I know nothing about it. Oil. Let's see what it looks like. Looks good. It's got oil in it. Let's smell it. Smells like a lawnmower. Smells like it's got gasoline in it. I'm going to check this dipstick now. See, it's clean, kids. See, it says full. Now I'm going to check it. Just going to slide it in there. And you see how it's still got oil in it? It's a little low, but it's not bad, and I'm not seeing any metal shavings. That's the other thing that you look for, man, to check the... There's definitely oil in it, but there's no metal pieces in there. It's not nasty looking. I mean, it looks like the engine's probably still got, oil in it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to yank this specific lawnmower. I'm just going to yank these two Phillips heads off, just so I can kind of get a look at what's going on underneath the cover. This is just a plastic cover to keep you from hurting your fingers somehow. Okay, so 2 Phillips heads, I'm going to yank that thing off. And the thing that I'm also going to do while I take a break here is I'm going to take this spark plug out. I'm going to take this thing off. That's just your coil lead. And I'm going to get a spark plug wrench and I'm going to take this thing out. Okay? Cool. So here we go. I just took that cover off the top just so I can kind of get a look and see what's going on here. I also told you that I was going to take the spark plug coil free. Take this free and take a look at it and see if it's fouled. A lot of times you can get fouled spark plugs. Somebody will run 2-stroke oil in it or something and just eventually foul it. As you can see, this could be fouled. It looks pretty black, but it might still get spark. That's a questionable spark plug. So next thing we're going to do is check for spark. Okay, and how I'm going to do that, it's right here. Okay, I just connected the spark plug back to this thing right here, the coil wire to the spark plug. Now I'm going to put it at an angle, okay, like that right there, against a piece of metal, an actual good piece of metal. Let's see if I can get it better for the camera here somewhere for you guys. How about that? So you want this thing to be grounded. This spark plug needs to touch a piece of metal. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is spin it over. I'm going to try and pull it and see if I can get spark out of this dang thing. Okay? Oh, we do. See that? We got spark. So we're getting spark now, okay? So, for this thing to run, it only needs a couple things, okay? Any engine will run if it's got compression, if it's got gas or fuel, it's getting a spark of some kind at the right time, okay? So, a lot of guys will say air gas spark on a gasoline engine, air gas spark. So, air, this is carbureted, so we're guessing that it's going to get good air, and we can check the air filter here in just a second. We know it's got spark. I don't know if it's got any fuel, so let's look and see. Doesn't look like it. There's no fuel in it at all. So, I'm going to put some fuel in it, and we're going to see if we can get some fuel flowing through it, okay? So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to grab some fuel, fill it up, see where we can go from here. Cool, see, I just put gas in it, and you can see it's now pouring out of the carburetor. See that bowl right there? That bowl's the carburetor, and it's obviously bad. So we're going to need a carburetor rebuild kit. We're going to need a new seal, the new O-ring that goes with it, and that needle valve that I told you guys about. So I'm going to have to go ahead and dump all this gas right back out. Okay, so that's why there was no gas in it. So it's just not that much stuff that's going on with the lawnmower. So I'm going to go ahead and yank this apart, and then we'll go from here. So we saw that the carburetor was leaking, so I took it outside and I dumped all the gas out into a container. And just working with gas is not very fun, so you definitely want to put it in a container and get it away from where you're working when it leaks that bad. So I went ahead and yanked the air filter, if you guys didn't know that. Here's the thing, here's the lawnmower. And that's how your air filter would go in. Look a little bit more familiar? So you just have one bolt, one really nasty air filter. The next thing I'm going to do is take this carburetor apart. So, if you guys are watching, you just take these two 8mm bolts free. You pop these things free. So here we are. Yanked it off just like I said it would. There's your carburetor. This is it. And this right here, this little thing here is what actually opens up your throttle and closes it. And it's actuated by this thing right here. See this little spring and a rod? Goes just like that. And it slips in that hole right there. So I just took it off like that, and here it is. So this is what causes you all your problems. You know, 90% of the problems that you see with lawnmowers is this little culprit right here, and this is a carburetor. So I'm going to take this bolt right here free, and this whole little bolt will come off. The nut will come free, that will come off, and then we'll diagnose it from there. Pretty simple though, huh? So here's that carburetor. As you can see, it's nothing real magical. I took the bowl off. It goes like this. It's a copper washer. And the back valve. So as you can see though, it's pretty nasty. What we're really interested in, slide this pin out. This is called the float, and this is what gets messed up. That thing right there. You see that? That's called a needle valve. That little valve right back there. That's what causes you all these problems. Now some of them will have a rubber tip. This one doesn't have a rubber tip. But a lot of them will. And when it doesn't have a rubber tip, the other place that it'll mess up is right in there. You can see the rubber, instead of being on the tip, is down in there. So this is what's actually causing most of the problems and why the gas is leaking so bad out of this carburetor. For most likely, it'll actually stick. If you press the little valve in there, you can feel it just barely dragging, and that's all it takes to overwhelm the carburetor, overfill it, and then for it to start pouring out the top and then onto the ground. So most lawnmowers that you'll see are thrown away for this reason right here, just because of that little seal. And we can pull that little seal out really easily. All we need is a little pin or a toothpick or whatever you can find. You can shove it down in there. Dental pick, whatever. You'll shove it down in there and that thing will come right free. I'll demonstrate. We'll just come over here and we'll look for maybe... Let's see if we can do it with this. That'll work. Pretty crazy. So it's going to be right up in here. Let's see if I can get this thing for you.